And one test session in particular that really stands out is one at Bristol Motor Speedway. I believe you guys were doing a midweek test there. And I don't know which two tracks were in between that or sandwiched in between this test session, but you had a pretty cool opportunity. We know Tyler a few weeks ago got to do the opportunity with David's team, Texas High Performance Racing School. And Roy, you had an even similar experience. Tell us about that.
Well, I've always been a comedian. I'm a funny guy, and I got a big mouth. We were flying over, we were flying over to Bristol in a Cessna prop plane with Bob Newton and a few of these Hoosier guys, these high up guys, and Paul Andrews, Geoff Bodine, and myself in the plane. And I don't know, maybe I had one too many coffees that morning, but I looked over at Bodine and I said to him, Bodine, if I ever get behind the wheel at number 7, you may be looking for a new job. And boy, those Hoosier guys really liked the way I said that. They were laughing, and it was a joke. But we landed the plane. We got to Bristol, and I remember it was at least 95 degrees. That Bristol heat was excruciating. And Geoff was just running lap after lap after lap. We were the only team there. And it was the end of the session. I was there with Peter Jellin and my buddy Danny Cameron. And we were getting ready to put the tires on the car to push it back into the truck, load it up. And Geoff is talking to the Hoosier guys. They're taking temperatures on the tires. And Bodine looks over at me and goes, "What are you doing?" And I'm getting the car. I'm going to put the car in the truck. He said, "Nah, hold on a second. What about that talk about me losing my job?" I said, "What are you talking about?" I'm not lying to you guys. He took his helmet and he threw it, and I caught his helmet. And he goes, "Let's see what you got." And Bob Newton was clapping, like he was like, "Oh boy, here we go." And now that's when it set in, fellas. That's when it really set in that I'm looking up at the grandstands, and I'm looking at this bank track, and I'm saying to myself, Jesus, I'm going to get into number 7 Exide Batteries Thunderbird. This is a primary race car, and I'm about to drive this thing. And I was getting in the car, and I looked at him because I am a funny guy. And I said, "Bodine, you're making a career decision here." And he pushed me in, and I got inside the car. I didn't even know how to start the goddamn thing. But Bodine buckles me in, he strapped me in, and I put the helmet on, and he looks at me, and he puts the net up, and he said, "Roy, don't wreck this race car." Okay. And started the car, and I took off down pit road. And guys, I wish that I could have had a video or a photo or something to show you, but it was absolutely amazing. I mean, I drove up onto the track, and I looked down, and the bottom of the racetrack was flat, and I'm sideways in this car. That I also learned that if you let go of the steering wheel, the goddamn thing's going to turn left. You got to hold the thing straight. So I'm driving, and I'm shifting gears, and I'm in 4th gear, and I'm probably going 50 miles an hour, just rolling around, just looking at the groove in the track, and just not in disbelief what's going on right now. And then I get this call over the radio. "Well, what do you got?" "Okay, you asked for it." And I proceeded to run probably 5 laps as hard as I could physically drive this car. I'd never driven anything like this before. I mean, my dad owned a 1977 Trans Am because we loved the movie Smokey and the Bandit, and we went out and bought one of those things. So I mean, like I had visions of you know, maybe I was Burt Reynolds a couple of times in my life, but nothing like this. You know what I mean? This was just the ultimate. And after my 5-lap run, I came down pit road and I dropped the net and I had my arm out the window and I did it, man. I'm the man. And I pulled up and everybody was clapping and they were laughing at the same time. And I got out of the car and I stood up on the door and I had my arms up like I just won the Bristol 500. And I jumped down off the door and I take the helmet off and Bodine comes over and gives me a hug. And he says, Roy, we got a new nickname for you. And I said, what's that? He goes, we're going to call you the Turtle. The Turtle. Jesus. I said, I ran the rubber off of those tires. He goes, well, you certainly you smoked the brakes off that car. Look at the brakes were overheating, but it was an amazing experience. So I'll never forget that as long as I live. And it, you know,
what a cool story, man.
Yeah,
that's unheard of.
It is unheard of.
Yeah,
it is. Thinking about it now, like, man,
you never even driven a race car before. Get in there and drive my race car. Wow.
Can you believe it? And I said, like, thinking later on, Geoff, are you crazy letting me drive that race car? He said, I knew you could handle it. I don't know.
That's awesome.
I could drive it, but I don't know about handling it. That was something else. So